So a couple of weeks ago, I decided to do a buddy read from Cindy with Read with Cindy and The Bookish Nook. And we were going to read The Kiss Quotient by Helen Hoang. And it was May, it was Asian Pacific Heritage Month, Cindy was hosting the Asian Readathon. It was all supposed to be great, we were all supposed to read this book, and it was supposed to be a really fun time. But for me, it was not. So basically, if you don't know what The Kiss Quotient is, it is a adult romance book that came out in 2018 and 2017, one of those years, and it was really, really popular. It has like over 150,000 ratings on Goodreads, which amounted to like a 3.9 average rating. Yeah, my rating was literally half of that. I gave this book like 2.5 stars. What you gonna do? But essentially, I was really excited to do this buddy read. I had done one with Cindy before, and it was supposed to be really fun, and we were just gonna read this book and talk about it. Now, in the beginning, when I started reading the book, I was pretty into it. I was like, I felt a little bit at arm's length with the story, but I was like, okay, you know, we're just gonna trudge through, see how this goes. And it was a mistake. So this review is not going to be like my other book reviews, because you can't really look at this book on a super critical level. Like, this is an English class, we're not analyzing this like it's the freaking Grapes of Wrath. It's just a fluffy romance book. So basically, how I'm going to format this is I'm just going to give a quick rundown on the writing and my feelings on it, and also give you a setup of like the characters and my feelings on them. Then I'm going to go through plot details, like literally point by point, and just talk about my feelings on that. We're going to go over all the ridiculous events that transpired in this novel. And then I'm going to go over some like random and general stuff, things I had issues with, and then talk about the romance. So basically, let's just start this and get this over with. I'm literally trying to salvage whatever is left in my brain at the moment. I just finished school today, so there is nothing up here. It's just an empty void. So I'm going to try to use whatever's in there, if there is anything, and get this thing over with. So, the writing. It was freaking weird, okay? This writing style was odd. I don't have any like specific quotes, because it wasn't like the style, but it was the choice that Helen Hoang made. So I read The Bride Test by her last year, and I gave it 3 stars. I was really lukewarm about it. I was excited about it, but then I was just like... And then with The Kiss Quotient, both of them are told in third person, but they're romance books. Like, romance books, am I the only one that's like, romance books basically have to be told in first person to get the full effect? Like, the whole point of romance books are to connect with the characters and care about them and care about the romance. And to quote Cindy from Read with Cindy, like, you need to yearn. You need to yearn for the characters. But I was just over here like, honestly, it was, like, the writing was nothing special. There was nothing memorable about this book or the writing, and honestly, the third person was just so weird because I could not connect to the characters in the way that I think the author was trying for me to do. I don't know. It was just weird, and I was weirded out. I was like, why is this told in third person? I felt the same way about The Bride Test. I felt so at arm's length with the story, like, the second I started reading it. But I thought it would get better, and then it didn't. But honestly, this book takes place in Silicon Valley, and I felt like the book is in Silicon Valley, and I'm over here in New York trying to read this book, but it's 3,000 miles away, and I'm just sitting here not understanding anything that's going on, and not caring at all about what is going on anyway. So, yeah. The writing, not a fan. Sorry. Okay, now we're gonna go into the characters. I'm just gonna give you a rundown of like who the characters are and their relationships with each other. So, first we have Stella Lane, who is the main character, and she is this really smart girl. She has a job in Silicon Valley where she makes like a crap ton of money, and she just like is super smart. She basically works for this company where she has to do things. She has to like create these formulas as to like how the customers, like this, I don't know. Something with customers, and she creates all these formulas, but she has autism, so she's really socially awkward, and also she cares so much about her work that she just like plunges into it head first, and she doesn't really care about dating or anything. But then her mother, who's another character, basically is like, girl, this ain't working. I need a grandchild. You're already 30, you're single, you've never had a boyfriend. You need to get one so that I can have some grandchildren. And so her mother is basically useless, just there for plot, and she's also not a good person. Then we have Stella's dad. I don't remember either of their names, if they were ever said. Anyway, yeah, the characters, so the Stella's parents were just very boring. Also, Stella's father is kind of a you-know-what, and we learn more about him in a future chapter, which I will go over. And then we have Michael Fan, who is the love interest, and he is an escort, and he basically is like this half Vietnamese, half Swedish guy, and we get their perspective, so it's like their third-person point of views. And then we have Michael's cousin named Quan, right? Is that what his name is? Something like that. And then Quan's brother, Kai. And then we also have Michael's like whole family, but they come into play later, so I'm going to talk about them later. Now we're going to talk about the plot. So I'm basically just going to go over everything that happened in this book and make fun of it, because that's what random reviews are, so let's just get into it. So I already said, Stella's mother is like, girl, you need to get me a grandchild. And Stella's like, well, crap, okay, and basically she goes home, she's like, starts freaking out, and starts researching escorts. And she finds this guy, so basically she wants to become good at sex before she gets a boyfriend, so she hires escort in order to, basically, she wants them to teach her how to bang, and so that she can be good when she has a boyfriend, and eventually a husband, and then the things start to snowball. So she gets this guy named Michael, who I talked about, and she tells him the plan, and he's like, girl, I don't know, that kind of seems a little bit crazy. Also, I don't repeat with clients, so kind of goes against my ethical code, which, like, it's not like he's a freaking psychiatrist, like, they don't have confidentiality, whatever. Okay. But he's like, okay, let's do it the first time, and then we'll go from there. So they have their first night, and Stella doesn't really, she's like, oh, this didn't really go like I wanted it to, but he does teach her how to kiss. And she has this whole freaking checklist of things he wants him to teach her. And I'm like, girl, calm down. But then he is like about to leave, and he's like, you know, I don't really feel comfortable. I don't think I want to repeat my clients, as I said before. But then she convinces him, and he's like, okay, yeah, I'll do 3 more sessions. So we have 3 more sessions, and Stella basically completes her checklist. Or she's like, she checks off kissing or something, and then she's like looking down the list, because she's who she is. Then we have a Michael chapter, and we basically see him talking to his cousin Quan, and Quan is like, hey, you know, it's okay if you're into guys, we, like the rest of the family, totally understand. Basically, everyone in his family thinks he's gay because Michael hasn't had a girlfriend in, like, years, but the truth is that he's actually escorting, so, yeah. Also, he has, like, really low self-esteem. He is kind of like a cinnamon roll inside, but also he thinks that women will only like him for his body, which doesn't make any sense because he is, like, a genuinely nice guy. It would be different if he was, like, a you-know-what, and he was, like, the super buff dude, but that's not how it is. He's nice, and he's conventionally attractive, so I don't really understand what the logic is there. But then Michael's like, no, I've been seeing multiple women, don't worry, I'm not gay. And then he's basically just, like, leaves. That's basically the whole conversation, which is kind of true. He has been seeing multiple women, many women, because he's an escort, but, you know, we're just gonna forget that. So then, Stella and Michael have their second session. Stella still has her freaking checklist. She shows Michael, and he's like, what the hell is this? And she's like, oh, it's just my checklist. And she's like super socially awkward, and he's like, doesn't understand. Then she doesn't understand his sarcasm because she has autism, And somehow, even though his cousin's brother has autism, he doesn't recognize the, like, ways that she's acting as her having autism. And it's like, anyone with a couple of brain cells would know that she is, like, she has some sort of, like, she's not just socially awkward is what I'm trying to say. You know? And especially since there's someone in his life who has autism, I'm kind of confused as to how he doesn't, like, put the pieces together. But, you know, whatever. Then they go on, like, ice cream date, like, their next session, they have ice cream and they date, and it's more of, like, a date rather than just banging, which, you know, whatever. Then we have, like, Michael's internal conflict. He's like, you know, basically his dad is, like, he's, like, this con man, and he's, like, I don't know if he's actually, oh yeah, his dad is, like, a cheater and a con artist, and Michael's, like, afraid that she's gonna find out or something. I don't know, it was all really unclear, hence why I gave this book 2 stars. So then, they all go, I know, we're moving at, like, lightning speed. Honestly, this is why I was kind of annoyed, because everything was just happening so freaking quickly, and there was no development. I did not give a single crap about any of the characters, because we didn't have any time to really be in their heads and see their conflict in ways that you can't really get in third person. Anyway, basically, it was kind of annoying, because romance books, for me, all the romance books I've read, it's like, you're building up to the, like, romantic scene, and then in this book, it just happens, and then it's, like, almost works backwards, and then there's just, like, random conflicts that the author was throwing in, and I was like, these are literally just coming out of nowhere. What is this? And Helen was just like, deal with it, and I'm just like, okay, whatever. So basically, Michael and Stella go to this club, and then Quan shows up, and he and Stella introduce themselves to each other, and then one of Michael's ex-clients basically just shows up and starts kissing him, and Stella is like, sir, what the hell's going on? And basically he's just like, oh, you know, like, he's just like me right now, cannot speak English, and basically she wants to leave, and Quan is able to deduce that she is autistic, once again, because his brother Kai, and he's like, because he notices the things that she does, some of the things she does is comparable with some of the things that his brother does, and so he's able to recognize them in her. But then Stella decides to leave, and Michael basically chases after her, and he agrees to drive her home, and on the way, she basically offers him $50,000 for, like, the next couple of months of sessions, so that she can keep being his client, and, hello, like, $50,000 is, like, a literal editor's salary, and you're making it in half the amount of time. Like, where is she, okay, whatever. Silicon Valley, I guess, is just gonna pay people whatever they want, but essentially, like, honestly, why is she wasting $50,000 on this guy? And, like, I just really don't understand why she's wasting $50,000. It's like, girl, there's probably a class on Skillshare teaching these things. Why are you wasting your money? Also, we were all talking about this in the buddy read, how unprofessional Michael is as an escort. Like, he is acting more like her boyfriend than her escort. It was just really weird to us, and if I can find some screenshots, I will put them on the screen. But it was just, like, this whole plot revolves around Michael being the worst escort of all time. Like, I don't know a lot about escorts, so I don't really know how it works, if there is, like, policies or anything. But he was, like, he had so many qualms about it before, and then he's just, like, throws them all out the window. But honestly, $50,000, sure. Fake dating trope, that's, you know, whatever. But he's like, you know what, I need time to consider this. I don't know why. I would take the $50,000. Like, he's probably making, like, half of that in a year, and she's offering it to him for, like, the next 6 months or whatever. Like, I don't know. I would have taken it. Maybe that says something about me. Michael leaves, and he's like, I need time to consider it. And she's like, okay. So then it's, like, the next day, or a couple of days later, and Stella is taking her clothes to the dry cleaner, and she sees that Michael works there, and she's like, hello, like, what the hell? Why are you working here? I thought you were an escort. And basically, he is a tailor there, and he, instead of answering any of the questions that she has, he's just like, yeah, I'll take the $50,000. But then, his mom catches Michael and Stella kissing, and she's like, what the hell's going on? And so she invites Stella over to dinner. She's like very vehemently like, oh my god, you need to come to dinner, like spazzing out. And Stella's like, okay, because like, what else is she gonna do? But honestly, she could just be like, I'm giving your son $50,000. I'm not coming to your damn dinner. But she goes, she agrees, and then, so they go to Michael's mom's house, and Stella is the socially awkward being that she is, and she brings chocolate, and she doesn't make the best first impression. She actually makes a pretty bad first impression. But Stella is actually really overstimulated or overwhelmed by like the noise in the house, and she sort of accidentally insults, or like not accidentally, but like unintentionally insults Michael's mother by not eating the food, because she was like, you shouldn't put these kinds of containers in the microwave because it can get BPA, which is like some chemical compound that was explained in the book, but I went over my head. And basically, she's like, no. And she asks Michael about his dad, and he tells her that he ran away, he like just abandoned them, and he goes to the other room to cry. Then Michael is like, is sort of just like, he wants to call the whole thing off with Stella, because he's reminding himself too much of his father. And basically, the next day, Stella brings chocolate to the dry cleaners that Michael and his mom work at as, like, an apology. And, Michael talks to Quan and realizes that Stella is autistic, and he decides to keep the relationship going because he wants to be near her, which, once again, really unprofessional for an escort. If I was his boss, I would fire him so quickly. Actually, I don't know what I'm saying. I literally do not understand escort business things at all, so anyway. So then, Michael and Stella start falling for each other, they're in love, things are happening. Stella isn't really awkward with the sex anymore, because in the beginning, she was really opposed to being intimate because she never had been before, and she was really closed off and socially awkward, which I understand. I actually liked how that was incorporated, because you got to see something that you don't usually get to in romance books, but also it felt really underdeveloped, and it was like the autism, like Stella's autism was only used when it needed to be used as a plot device instead of seeing her struggle with it daily. I don't know, whatever. Michael's mom is like very happy that she apologized, and she's like, come over to my house for a second try, and Stella's like, I will do that. So yeah, once again, Michael knows that Stella is autistic, and he's starting to realize the reason that she acts the way she does. And basically at the dinner, his sister is like, yo Stella, can I get an internship at your office? And she's like, I don't know, and basically that's how it ends. And then they go to this charity event, and sorry, I'm looking at my notes, is that why I keep looking down? Anyway, okay. So they basically, Stella invites Michael to her mom's charity event and asks him to make a dress for her. But before the charity event, Philip, Stella's creepy colleague, is like, hey, can you go with me? And she's like, no, I am already going with someone. Basically, Philip just kisses her. No consent, he just kisses her. Then Stella tells Michael, and he basically is just like, what the hell? How did he kiss you? Why did you let him kiss you? And then she basically just runs off, angry, even though he has no right to be angry, and he knows that, but like, still, if you know that you shouldn't be angry, why are you freaking angry? That's a thought. Then when they get to the event, Stella's dad is kind of a you-know-what to Michael. He's just like super rude, and he is just judging him, and he's annoyed. Michael is really annoyed, and he's also really annoyed that Philip and Stella have such a connection, like on an intellectual basis, and Michael's just over here like, hi, I escort. Then, one of Michael's ex-clients shows up to this event, and it is Philip's mom.
Call the police.
What is going on? I don't know who approved of this book. I don't know. It's weird. I am uncomfortable, but you know, we still have a lot left. This book is not even done yet, and I'm still damn talking about it. Anyway, then Michael's like talking to Stella and he breaks up with her. He's like, I'm not good enough for you, I'm not smart, I'm ugly, I have no self-esteem, and he's just like basically crapping all over himself. And Stella's like, no, you're such a great guy, and then he breaks up with her anyway. Honestly, we were talking about this in the group chat too, and once again, I will put screenshots up if I can find them, but we were just like, romance books would just not exist without some semblance of miscommunication. Just a little fraction of it. And honestly, instead of a fraction, Helen Hoang just like gave us the entire formula and was like, here, take it. Here's the miscommunication. They had a healthy relationship before, but then, you know, I'm just gonna mess it all up. Actually, they did not have a healthy relationship ever, because they were all just both breaking up with each other, and she was paying him to like be with her, and I just... Call the police. So Stella is like really distraught. She's like, oh my god, I can't believe he broke up with me. And she tries to move on, but it's really hard for her to move on. And she basically accepts a dinner date with Michael, the pervert colleague that tried to kiss her and did kiss her without her consent. So love that for her. And basically it's really awkward, and he tries to kiss her and she turns away. Also, at this time, Michael's sister has gotten the internship, which just seems so out of place, but whatever. Okay, wait, I just realized I got some of the events mixed up, but that's also because this book made zero sense. It was just like, if I tried to, like, put all the things that happened together, it would be like that guy, that meme, with that clipboard or whatever, because it made no damn sense. But, okay, basically, Michael finds out that there was this mysterious donor. And basically they find out, I forgot to mention this before, but Stella finds out that the reason Michael is escorting is so that he can pay for his mom's cancer treatment, and so now he finds out that this mysterious donor has paid in full for his mother's cancer treatment. And so then Stella goes on the date with Philip. He's really weird. He tries to kiss her and follow her home when she tries to get away, but luckily, coincidentally, Michael and Quan are there to just help. They're there to help, because she apparently cannot help herself. Helen Hoang's like, nope, this girl isn't gonna help herself. We need the big, strong man to come help her instead. So then Michael follows Stella out, and she tells him that she's trying to get over him, and all that fun stuff, and he starts to act creepy. He's like not communicating his feelings. He starts sending her flowers and like calling her non-stop, like literally every single day of the week. He sends flowers and calls her office, and she's like, what the hell is going on? Call the police. But it's okay, because Stella ends up being fine with it, and they get back together, and Michael finds out that Stella was the one that paid for the cancer treatment in full. Basically, she donated like millions of dollars to this foundation that was funding it, and it got like wired over into like his mom's cancer treatment, or something like that. And I don't know why he was acting this was such a damn shocker, because I predicted this the second we found out that it was paid in full. Then, okay, we're almost at the end, so... like, we're almost at the end. Okay, Michael basically tells her that he's going to propose in 3 months because he wants to surprise her or something like that, and because she doesn't like surprises, and so he's like, I'm gonna propose to you in 3 months, which just seems really freaking pointless, but I guess it could be considered cute since she doesn't like surprises. I don't know, I was just like so done with this book at this point that I was like, you know what, whatever. Honestly, Stella could turn into a literal tree at this point, and I would not be surprised. Anyway, then we get to the epilogue. Thank our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and it's 4 months later. It's a stupid time jump, which I hate, but they're engaged, and Michael's new fashion line is doing well, because he's apparently Michael Kors now, and Stella has accepted this promotion at work that will get her in contact with a bunch of different people so she can warm up to people and stop being so socially awkward. Basically, Stella tells Michael that she wants to buy him a car, and he tells her that he will gladly accept it because he loves her. And that is it. We are freaking done with this damn book. Honestly, I feel like it's been an entire decade filming this video, like explaining this. I was just reliving this whole book and cringing the entire time, so love that for me. But honestly, this book was not an enjoyable experience. It was fine in the beginning. I understand that it's like a guilty pleasure read and it's not supposed to be like this next great American novel. Like, this isn't The Great Gatsby. I don't know why I just made this entire video, but whatever. Like, I literally don't care. Like, I don't care. But that is essentially everything that happened, save for probably a few minor details, in The Kiss Quotient by Helen Hoang. So, I don't know if I said this before, but I rated this book 2.5 stars. It was not my favorite. Honestly, it is like a pretty solid 2 stars. I was thinking about rounding it up to 3 stars, but then I was like, 3 stars is like a good rating for me. It's like a good, like a positive rating. Like 3 stars is positive for me. So to rate this book in a positive light would just be like weird. So I rated it 2 stars. I didn't give a crap. It was super just like fluffy and boring and like again, I just felt such a disconnect from these characters. It was not an enjoyable experience at all, and I was cringing 90% of the time while reading this book. The sex scenes weren't even, like, rewarding. Like, I feel like sex scenes are supposed to be earned, and with this one, they were just thrown at you, and they were weird. Like, they were weird. I was just like, what is going on? I'm uncomfortable, I'm supremely weirded out. And it wasn't even, and then the last third had nothing. It was like character development, but it wasn't even good character development. I don't care that Stella is trying to get over Michael, and she goes out on this date with this perv colleague that she has, that tried to kiss her twice, and then followed her home. And if Michael and Quan weren't there, like, what is going on? I think it was very fine. It wasn't supposed to be good, that's why I'm not, like, super hard on it. It might seem like I'm, like, bashing it, but I honestly don't care enough to bash this book. I honestly don't. Like, it's fine, whatever. I don't know. It's basically like when you watch those Hallmark holiday movies. You're not expecting something good. You're just expecting something to maybe stimulate your brain cells for however long you consumed the book, or the movie, or the TV show, or whatever the hell you're consuming. Honestly, I don't understand the big fuss. Like, I don't know why people liked this. I don't know why Cindy liked this, and why the Bookish Enough liked this. It was boring, and I didn't care about the characters. Could not care less. Honestly, if Stella's mom wasn't such an old crow, then this whole book wouldn't have happened. If Stella's mom wasn't such a discriminatory person towards single people, this book would never have happened. And honestly, I wish her mom wasn't even in this book, because I wish this book didn't exist. But yeah, it was fine. I hope you enjoyed this video more than I enjoyed this book. All my social media links are in the description box below. There are links to pre-order or buy this book in the description box below as well. My camera battery is running out. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I guess the moral of the story is not to listen to your parents. So, that is it. Goodbye.